4.1 A.
Well, I remember reading Catch-22 by, I think it's Joseph Heller, and but I actually started it one night. It was, we had gone to France, to this campsite, and they'd all gone to bed, so I went ahead and started it that night, and when I woke up the next morning, I just sat under a tree in the shade and read the whole thing from start to finish. Yeah, I think that's the only book I've ever done that with. Didn't do it before or since, yeah.
B.
Yes. So there is a book that, well, it's a book from my childhood, and it's called Carbonell by Barbara Slay, and I always really feel that, well, you know, it's got everything. It's got, what's in it? It's got a talking cat, a curse, there's a witch, there's loads of children, and I really just don't understand why this hasn't been made into a children's film or even an animated film, really, to be honest. It's just such a good story, and it's got really great characters, and it's a very visual book. So a lot of the things that it describes, you can just sort of see it, and I think it's a missed opportunity. I really think someone in Hollywood should definitely pick this one up.
C.
Well, there's been a couple of things recently that I've seen on television and then read the book afterwards, and one of those was Big Little Lies. So that was turned into a TV series on HBO, I think. And another was on, it was a film on Netflix, and it was called To All the Boys I've Loved Before, which is a young adult book that I then went on to read afterwards. It wouldn't usually be my thing, but I read the whole series of 3 books. It was fantastic.
D.
So there's a book I've started a couple of times. It's called The Silmarillion by Tolkien, and it's sort of more information about the world that the Lord of the Rings saga happens in, but I just find the beginning so boring and I cannot finish it. And I know that a friend of mine has told me about some really interesting bits that come up later on, but I cannot get to them. I just keep reading about someone, son of someone, and it gets really, really boring really, really soon. So I think I'll have to try again, but I still have not managed to get to the end of it.
E.
I remember we had to read The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells when I was at school. I was about 10 at the time, and I remember thinking, oh, this looks, really exciting, because I really was into science fiction as a kid. And the cover looked, like really exciting. So I thought, this is going to be fantastic. We're going to be, doing something really this exciting. It's, we're really lucky. But I started it, and it was just too hard for somebody, well, I think of 10 years old. The vocabulary was difficult, the sentences went on forever. It was really hard to follow them, and it was just frustrating because I was just sort of looking at the words, and I sort of knew when to turn the page, but I hadn't really remembered what I'd just read. So yeah, I didn't get to understand the story at all, and the thing is, it sort of put me off H.G. Wells because I've not really read any since.
F.
Well, I've got to say I've hardly read any classics at all, or any of those ones that win prizes and stuff that get reviewed in papers. So, I've never read To Kill a Mockingbird, for example. All those classics. I think I've read one Jane Austen book. And I feel as if I should address this, maybe read some Charles Dickens and I just can't concentrate on it, to be honest. It's just, and for me, reading is a way of switching off, so I don't really want to read anything that's quite a struggle.
4.2 1.
I just sat under a tree in the shade and read the whole thing from start to finish.
2,
I think it's a missed opportunity.
3,
So that was turned into a TV series on HBO, I think?
4,
It's sort of more information about the world that the Lord of the Rings saga happens in.
5,
I really was into science fiction as a kid. And the cover looked, like really exciting.
6,
For me, reading is a way of switching off, so I don't really want to read anything that's quite a struggle.
4.3, 1,
Haunting.
2,
Moving.
3,
Gripping.
4,
Heartwarming.
5,
Fast moving.
6,
Intriguing.
7,
Thought provoking.
8,
Creepy.
9,
Heavy going.
10,
Implausible.
4.4, Part 1.
What made you want to be a translator?
It was something that I'd done when I was at university, and when I moved to Spain, it was difficult to get a job that wasn't teaching English. So I went back to England and I did a postgraduate course in translation. After doing the course, I swore that I would never be a translator. I thought it would be too boring. But I kept doing the odd translation, and eventually I came round to the idea because I like the idea of working for myself, and it didn't require too much investment to get started. And actually, I enjoy working with words, and it's very satisfying when you feel that you've produced a reasonable translation of the original text.
What are the pros and cons of being a translator?
Well, it's a lonely job, I suppose. You're on your own most of the time. It's hard work. You're sitting there and, you're working long hours. And you can't program things because you don't know when more work is going to come in. And people have always got tight deadlines. It's really rare that somebody will ring you up and say, I want this translation in 3 months' time.
Sure.
That just doesn't really happen.
Yeah. And the pros?
Well, the pros are that it gives you freedom because you can do it anywhere if you've got an internet connection and electricity. And I suppose you can organise your time because you're freelance, you're your own boss, which is good. I like that.
What advice would you give someone who's thinking of going into translation?
I'd say in addition to the language, get a speciality. Do another course in anything that interests you, like economics, law, history, art, because you really need to know about the subjects that you're translating into.
4.5, Part 2.
What do you think is the most difficult kind of text to translate?
Literary texts like novels, poetry or drama, because you've got to give a lot of consideration to the author and to the way it's been written in the original language.
Right. In order to translate a novel well, do you think you need to be a novelist yourself?
I think that's true ideally, yes.
And is that the case? I mean, are most of the well-known translators of novels, generally speaking, novelists in their own right?
Yes, I think in English anyway. People who translate into English tend to be published authors, and they tend to specialise in a particular author in the other language. And of course, if it's a living author, then it's so much easier because you can actually communicate with the author and say, what did you really mean here?
Another thing I've heard that is very hard to translate is advertising, for example, slogans.
Yeah, well, with advertising, the problem is that it's got to be something punchy and it's very difficult to translate that. For example, one of the Coca-Cola adverts, the slogan in English was "the real thing," but you just couldn't translate that literally into Spanish. It just wouldn't have had the same power. In fact, it became sensación de vivir, which is sensation of living, which sounds really good in Spanish, but it would sound weird in English.
What about film titles?
Oh, they're horrific too. And people always complain that they've not been translated accurately, but of course it's impossible because sometimes a literal translation just doesn't work.
For example?
Okay, well, think of the Julie Andrews film, The Sound of Music.
Uh-huh.
Well, that works in English because it's a phrase that you know, like I can hear the sound of music.
Yes.
But it doesn't work at all in other languages. And in Spanish, it was called sonrisas y lágrimas, which means smiles and tears. In German, it was called Meine Lieder, meine Trauma, which means my songs, my dreams. And in Italian, it was Tutti insieme appassionatamente, which means, I think, all together passionately, or I don't know, something like that. In fact, I think it was translated differently all over the world.
Do you think there are special problems translating film scripts for the subtitles?
Yes, a lot. There are special constraints. For example, the translation has to fit on the screen as the actor is speaking. And so sometimes the translation is a paraphrase rather than a direct translation. And of course, going back to untranslatable things, really the big problems are cultural and humour, because they're just not the same. You can get across the idea, but you might need pages to explain it, and, by that time the film's moved on. I also sometimes think that the translators are given the film on DVD, rather than a written script, and that sometimes they've simply misheard or they didn't understand what the people said. And that's the only explanation I can come up with for some of the mistranslations that I've seen. Although sometimes it might be that some things like humour and jokes, especially ones which depend on wordplay, are just, they're simply untranslatable. And often it's very difficult to get the right register, for example, with slang and swear words. Because if you literally translate taboo words or swear words, even if they exist in the other language, they may well be far more offensive.
4.6. 1.
I made a real faux pas when I mentioned to our boss that Sam had been asked to leave his previous job.
2.
When we were introduced, I had a sense of déjà vu, even though I knew we had never met before.
3.
It might be a bit of a cliché, but I think it's actually true that opposites attract.
4.
Their business venture ended in a complete debacle, and the manager resigned.
5.
She's a real aficionado of Italian opera. She knows a lot about it and goes whenever she can.
6.
Don't overcook the pasta, just until it's al dente.
7.
I'm afraid I felt a certain schadenfreude when my ex-husband told me his girlfriend had left him.
8.
After the earthquake, there was a tsunami warning, but luckily it didn't happen.
4.7. Sounds and the human voice. 1. Sounds. A.
Bang.
Buzz.
Click.
Crash.
Creak.
Crunch.
Drip.
Hiss.
Hoot.
Hum.
Rattle.
Roar.
Screech.
Slam.
Slurp.
Sniff.
Snore.
Splash.
Tap.
Tick.
Whistle.
4.8. 1. Sounds B. 1,
Tick.
2,
Sniff.
3,
Click.
4,
Splash.
5,
Bang.
6,
Creak.
7,
Buzz.
8,
Hoot.
9,
Tap.
10,
Slurp.
11,
Hiss.
12,
Drip.
13,
Roar.
14,
Whistle.
15,
Hum.
16,
Slam.
17,
Crunch.
18,
Snore.
19,
Rattle.
20,
Screech. Crash.
4.9. 2. The human voice. 1,
Scream.
2,
Yell. Hey, you!
3,
Giggle.
4,
Whisper. Please be quiet.
5,
Mumble.
6,
Groan.
Aww.
7,
Stammer. My name's Martin.
8,
Sob.
9,
Sigh.
4.10. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Oh.
5, 6,
Jack Pritchard, 131 Wickenden Road.
Seven. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12.
Please be quiet.
4.11. At the beginning of a word. 2 sounds.
Click. Slam. Crash. Slurp. Drip. Snore. Stammer.
3 sounds.
Screech. Scream. Splash.
At the end of a word. 2 sounds.
Shouts. Sniffs. Yelled. Hummed.
3 sounds.
Crunched. Mumble. Crisps. Rattled.
4.12. 1.
She screamed when her friend splashed her in the swimming pool.
2.
The brakes screeched, and then there was a tremendous crash.
3.
I hate the crunching of someone eating crisps.
4.13.
The best sounds in the world, in no particular order, are the crunch of walking on a fresh layer of snow, the patter of rain on the roof while you're in bed, the crackling noise of an open fire, the sound of a golf ball dropping into the hole, the popping noise when you squeeze bubble wrap, people laughing at one of your jokes.
It only went halfway in!
The ding sound when a plane has landed and switched off the engines. The crashing of waves on a beach. Birds singing very early in the morning.
The worst sounds in the world, in no particular order, are the tap of the keys on a mobile phone when someone hasn't turned off the keyboard sound. The roar of a revving motorbike. The whine of a dentist's drill. The strange hum in your house that you can't locate. Someone eating popcorn at the cinema. The sound of someone filing their nails. Someone sniffing. People slurping their food. Someone else's child crying.
4.14. 1.
My next door neighbours have just got a dog. I've always really liked dogs, but this one just absolutely drives me mad. It barks at everything. It barks at the rain. It barks at traffic. Barks at the wind. And it's got a really high-pitched, yappy bark. And yeah, it barks all day, all night. It drives me mad.
2.
A sound that I really can't stand, I actually detest this sound, is the sound of my daughter eating popcorn whenever we go to the cinema together. I always make her buy a small box because otherwise it takes her forever to finish and get to the bottom. Oh, but it's the crunch, the sound of the little kernels in her mouth, the chew, all the sounds inside her mouth. It's just so irritating.
3.
I do this quite funny thing. So when my kids are in bed, I often go in and I just listen to them breathing when they're asleep, and it really calms me down, this sort of steady breathing, and it makes me feel really happy and calm and reassured that they're healthy and they're at home, and, well, actually also the fact that they're fast asleep. So I can get some time to myself, some peace and quiet.
4.
I find the sound of the sea just makes me feel relaxed. It makes me at peace. Doesn't matter if it's a gentle sea against a beach or ocean crashing against rocks. It just calms me down. I love it. I've even got an app on my phone of sea sounds, which helps me if I'm travelling and I can't get to sleep somewhere. I always put that on. Helps me relax.
5.
I think it's when I hear the constant beeping of all my different kitchen appliances. The washing machine or the dishwasher, and when you think they're finished, but you don't know, and then it goes beep, and then a minute later beep, 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 and it gets louder, just so you know it's really finished what it's doing, it's talking to you. I just find it so annoying. It really annoys my husband too. You're sitting there trying to have a nice relaxing evening watching the TV, and then, one of you has to get up and go and attend to it, go and turn it off.
6.
Well, the sound of a baby laughing or giggling, I love that. I was watching something on YouTube the other day and with young babies and pets, and the babies were just giggling all over the place. They were roaring with laughter, and I thought it was one of the happiest, sweetest sounds I'd ever heard.
7.
Listening to music played very quietly so that you can't actually hear it. Music should be something that you want to hear properly and more loudly, not just there playing quietly, irritating you. And the other thing is background music, like lift music, that you don't want to hear at all. I don't like hearing any music unwillingly.
8.
Well, the sound of the train. I find it really relaxing because the sound fits perfectly along with the movement of the train moving along and the jolting backwards and forwards. But I do need to be sitting facing forwards rather than backwards because otherwise I feel really train sick.
4.15. Story 1. Story 2. Story 3.
Ooh. What's that noise?
What noise?
There's someone inside.
You open it.
No way! I'm too scared. You do it.
All right, here we go. Okay, ready?
Four 4.16. Story 1.
What are you doing? Is it a mosquito?
Oh, I got it. At last. Go back to sleep.
Story 2.
Are you okay, sir? Is this your phone?
That's my phone! He's pinched it!
Story 3.
Ooh. What's that noise?
What noise?
There's someone inside.
You open it.
No way! I'm too scared. You do it.
All right, here we go. Okay, ready?
It's only the cat.
4.17. 1.
As far as I'm concerned, the sign is completely pointless.
2.
My feeling is that it's best to live and let live.
3.
In my view, that's their job.
4.
If you ask me, they're never going to work.
5.
Personally, I think that normal conversation is acceptable.
6.
I'd say the only way round it is to buy yourself a set of noise-cancelling headphones.
English File 4th Edition Advanced Students Book, CD3. 5.1. The Chocolate Meditation.
Again and again, people tell us that mindfulness greatly enhances the joys of daily life. In practice, even the smallest of things can suddenly become captivating again. For this reason, one of our favourite practices is the chocolate meditation. In this, you ask yourself to bring all your attention to some chocolate as you're eating it. So if you want to do this right now, choosing some chocolate, not unwrapping it yet, choosing a type that you've never tried before or one that you've not eaten recently. It might be dark and flavoursome, organic or fair trade, or whatever you choose. Perhaps choosing a type you wouldn't normally eat, or that you consume only rarely. Before you unwrap the chocolate, look at the whole bar or packet, its colour, its shape, what it feels like in your hand, as if you were seeing it for the very first time. Now very slowly unwrapping the chocolate, noticing how the wrapping feels as you unfold it, seeing the chocolate itself. What colours do you notice? What shapes? Inhaling the aroma of the chocolate, letting it sweep over you. And now taking or breaking off a piece and looking at it as it rests on your hand. Really letting your eyes drink in what it looks like. Examining every nook and cranny. At a certain point, bringing it up to your mouth, noticing how the hand knows where to position it, and popping it in the mouth, noticing what the tongue does to receive it. See if it's possible to hold it on your tongue and let it melt. Noticing any tendency to chew it. Seeing if you can sense some of the different flavours. Really noticing these. If you notice your mind wandering while you do this, simply noticing where it went, then gently escorting it back to the present moment. And then when the chocolate has completely melted, swallowing it very slowly and deliberately, letting it trickle down your throat. What did you notice? If the chocolate tasted better than if you'd just eaten it at a normal pace, what do you make of that? Often we taste the first piece and perhaps the last, but the rest goes down unnoticed. We're so often on autopilot, we can miss much of our day-to-day lives. Mindfulness is about bringing awareness to the usual routine things in life, things that we normally take for granted. Perhaps you could try this with any routine activity, seeing what you notice. It could change your whole day.
5.2.
How long is it before we get frustrated at people talking during a movie or waiting for a date who hasn't shown up? I veer wildly between patience and impatience. It's probably good to know whether you're more or less patient than the average person, so I was interested to read the results of a survey by the watch company Timex asking people how long they were willing to wait in various situations before losing patience. Some of the results seem about right. However, some seem wildly unlikely, based on my experience of how people tend to behave. First, a car in front of you at a green light. Average time before getting annoyed, 50 seconds. This is the one result that seems least believable to me. 50 seconds waiting behind someone at a green light? From what I've observed, it's more like 5 seconds, maybe even less. Then, waiting for people to stop talking in a movie theater. Average wait, 1 minute, 52 seconds. This also seems a long time. For me, it depends. If it's a really sad or emotional story and they're ruining the atmosphere, I shush them after 5 seconds. But if it's a full-blown action movie, then it doesn't really bug me. Next, crying babies. Apparently, it takes almost 3 minutes, 2 minutes 41 seconds to be precise, before someone gives parents a dirty look because their baby is screaming. That sounds quite a long time to me, and what they didn't ask was how long people would wait to ask a flight attendant if they can switch seats when they realize they're sitting right next to a screaming baby. That would have to be in the 30-second range, right? Waiting to see the doctor is something everyone expects to take a while. 32 minutes on average before people get mad doesn't seem unreasonable. I suppose there are always magazines to read, even though they're usually several years out of date. Now, what about waiting for your partner to get ready? Average wait, 21 minutes. I assume that means 21 minutes after you're ready yourself? I think that's too long to wait. I can get ready to go out in approximately 10 minutes. Shower, change, coat on, ready. My wife, on the other hand... The next one also seems pretty long. Maybe from entering the coffee shop to actually drinking your coffee could take 7 minutes, but just waiting in line? Presumably not during rush hour, when customers just want to take out and the baristas generally know what they're doing? What about if your blind date is late? The survey says that the average time before people get angry and leave is 26 minutes. That seems like the right amount of time for you to experience that scene from romantic comedies where the main character is sitting at a table, checking his or her phone, and finally decides to leave when the server offers them more bread for the 4th time. Finally, the average wait before angrily asking some overconfident business type next to you talking loudly on a cell phone to quiet down, 2 minutes, 25 seconds. Well, everyone in the world must be more patient than me. But my tip here is, just make facial expressions to let them know you're annoyed. Really exaggerated facial expressions. Works every time.
5.3. 1.
One thing I really hate is waiting at home for a delivery, because sometimes they'll give you a delivery slot of 2 hours, and that's fine, you know when it's coming, but more often they'll say it could be any time from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m, and then you're just stuck in the house. You don't even dare go out in case you miss them, and of course, it always ends up coming at 2 minutes to 7, and you've just spent the whole day waiting, wasting your time at home.
2.
So what annoys me is, when you have to wait for ages for like films and TV programs to download. It doesn't really happen so much nowadays. But from time to time, I'll be somewhere where there's like really bad internet connection, and it really irritates me. I'll be sort of sitting there and watching that little download icon moving at an absolute snail's pace.
3.
I really hate waiting for anything where I've been given an appointment time for a specific hour. a specific time, and then having to wait for ages before I actually have it. For example, a hairdresser or a dentist or a doctor. I'm very punctual, so I always turn up on time. In fact, usually at least 5 minutes early. And it really, really annoys me if I have to wait for a long time. Anything more than 15 minutes over the appointment time drives me completely insane.
5.4 Expressions with time. 1. Verbs. 1.
I waste a lot of time playing games and messaging on my computer instead of studying.
2.
If you take the motorway, you'll save time. It's much quicker than the local roads.
3.
I had 3 hours to wait for my flight, so I sat there doing Sudoku puzzles to kill time.
4.
There's no hurry, so take your time.
5.
When my mother was young, she never had the chance to travel. Now she's retired and wants to make up for lost time, so she's booked a trip around the world.
6.
The novel is 700 pages long and I'm a slow reader. It's going to take me a long time to finish it.
7.
I'd better go home now. If I'm late again, Dad will give me a hard time.
8.
I would like to go camping this weekend, but my final exams are next week, so I can't spare the time.
9.
My children take up all my time. I never seem to get to read a book or watch a film.
10.
New York's such a fantastic city. You're going to have the time of your life there.
11.
Let's not spend too long at the museum or we'll run out of time.
12.
They want us to sign the contract today, but I'm not sure about it. I think we should play for time.
5.5 2. Prepositional phrases. 1.
I'm really punctual, so I hate it when other people aren't on time.
2.
I've never heard of that singer. He must have been before my time.
3.
By the time we got to our hotel, it was nearly midnight.
4.
I missed the birth of my first child. I was on a plane at the time.
5.
She's been working too hard recently. She needs some time off.
6.
If we don't take a taxi, we won't get to the airport in time for the flight.
7.
I don't eat out very often, but I do get a takeaway from time to time.
8.
He suffers from back pain and it makes him a little irritable at times.
9.
You can come any time from 10 to 2.
10.
My dad's a bit behind the times. He still thinks men should wear a suit and tie at work.
11.
Don't try to multitask. Just do one thing at a time.
12.
I thought it would take ages, but in fact I finished it in no time.
5.6 3. Expressions. 1. I.
The referee's looking at his watch. There isn't much time left.
2. B.
He hardly spoke to me at lunch. He spent the whole time talking on his phone.
3. J.
I'm really looking forward to my holiday. This time next week, I'll be lying on the beach.
4. D.
I'm sorry I can't help you this week. I'm a little short of time.
5. F.
I can't afford a new car. I'll have to carry on with this one for the time being.
6. G.
She's sure to find a job eventually. It's only a matter of time.
7. E.
I think I need to take up a hobby. I've got time on my hands since I retired.
8. C.
Stop writing, please. Time's up. The exam is over.
9. A.
I really thought I was going to be late, but in the end I got to the airport with time to spare.
10. H.
Why not spend a morning at our spa? It's very popular with people who want a bit of me time.
11. L.
I hate having to fill in my tax return. It's incredibly tedious and time-consuming.
12. K.
You've had that computer for ages. It's about time you got a new one.
5.7. 1.
We need to make up for lost time.
2.
He gave me a really hard time.
3.
We're going to run out of time.
4.
Could I have some time off next week?
5.
At times I feel like giving up completely.
6.
Time's up. Please stop writing.
7.
Let's not waste time on that.
8.
It's only a matter of time before they break up.
9.
Did you have a good time last night?
10.
It's about time you learn to cook.
5.8. 1.
Not at all.
Thanks very much.
Not at all.
2.
First of all, we're going to revise the vocabulary from yesterday.
3.
Pick it up. That's your towel on the floor. Pick it up.
4.
In an hour.
When will you be back?
In an hour or so.
5.
On our own. Don't worry, we'll find it on our own.
5.9. Money. 1. Nouns. 1.
Budget.
2.
Grant.
3.
Loan.
4.
Fee.
5.
Fair.
6.
Quote.
7.
Donation.
8.
Fine.
9.
Installment.
10.
Deposit.
11.
Will.
12.
Lump sum.
5.10. 2. Money in today's society. 1.
We live in a consumer society, which is dominated by spending money on material possessions.
2.
The standard of living in many European countries is lower than it was 10 years ago.
3.
People's income has gone up, but inflation is high, so the cost of living has also risen.
4.
House prices are rising and people can't afford to buy a home.
5.
Online banking allows people to manage their accounts.
For example, check their balance and make transfers and payments.
6.
People who have loans have to pay high interest rates.
7.
A lot of people are in debt and have problems getting a mortgage to buy their first home.
8.
Some people make money by buying and selling shares on the stock market.
9.
Our currency is unstable and exchange rates fluctuate a lot.
10.
A lot of small businesses went bankrupt during the recession.
5.11. 3. Adjectives. 1.
Rich, wealthy.
2.
Affluent.
3.
Well off.
4.
Loaded.
5.
Poor.
6.
Penniless.
7.
Broke.
8.
Hard up.
5.12. 4. Colloquial language. 1.
Nice car. How much are you going to ask for it?
$5,000. What do you think?
2.
I need $5 for the subway.
Sure, here you are.
3.
Great hat. Was it expensive?
No, only £5. I got it in a charity shop.
4.
What's the building work going to cost you?
About 50k. We're redoing the kitchen as well.
5.
Can I borrow £20?
Sorry, I've only got a fiver.
5.13. 1.
I'm afraid I don't have any expert knowledge.
2.
Did you know that James was a psychologist?
3.
It's an interesting theory, but it's not very scientific.
4.
I'm afraid you can't change it if you don't have the receipt.
5.
I found the whole experience a bit overwhelming.
6.
When I heard the explosion, I thought it was a bomb.
7.
Don't make a noise, she whispered.
8.
The National Gallery was great, but I was a bit disappointed by Nelson's column.
9.
Do you think the Prime Minister is going to resign?
10.
It was quite a bad accident, and the car was a complete wreck.
5.14.
So, Alessandro, how did the idea of pastor evangelists come about?
Well, I'm half Italian, half English, and I've always been interested in the sector of food and beverages, and I've been thinking about creating a new brand in the food and beverage sector for quite a while, and I saw an opportunity of creating potentially the first premium artisanal fresh pasta brand in the UK, but even internationally. And so 2.5 years ago, we started by selling gnocchi to my friends.
Where are you based?
Our business is based in London. However, our product is distributed and sold everywhere in the UK. We have an office in Farringdon. Our kitchen is in East London. And we also have a concession a pasta evangelist concession in Harrods.
Who actually makes the pasta?
So yeah, we have a whole team of sfogliini. Maria Rosaria, Livia, Michelangelo, Federica, Francesca, who make fresh pasta every day. So sfogliini is an Italian word which means pasta artisans, and it derives from the word sfoglia, which is the pasta sheet.
Right.
All our sfogliini are Italians. Having said that, we are also training non-Italians to make pasta, such as Darina, Sameya, Veronica. So people from Poland, Russia, Bangladesh, why not?
Where do you get your ingredients from?
We have quite an extensive number of different suppliers for our ingredients because we make hundreds of different recipes. So we're always working with new suppliers, veg, meat, fish, eggs, flours, and I would say that we work with a mix of both Italian suppliers for some ingredients, but also British suppliers. I think I would say that the quality and the freshness of the produce is what we're most after, as well as the authenticity, whether it's the pistachios from Sicily or hazelnuts from Piemonte. It really depends.
Approximately how much money did you need to raise to get the project off the ground?
So whilst it was relatively inexpensive to get the business started, i.e. I invested £2,000, and even the second step was relatively was not colossal, i.e. £60,000. Once we were keen to increase growth, we had to raise larger amounts of money, i.e. we raised £500,000 and then £1.7 million.
One of the ways in which you tried to get more investment was appearing on Dragon's Den. What happened when you went on the programme?
So Dragon's Den was really an amazing experience. We really enjoyed it. It gave immediate visibility to the brands to approximately 2 million individuals across the UK. It was free. And the brand was shown in a very positive light, and we were able to showcase our products, our craftsmanship, and our story. Having said that, we didn't raise the capital from the Dragons.
What would you say is the unique selling point, the USP of Pasta Evangelists?
I think the USP is probably the quality of the product, which was a reflection of the artisanality, the freshness, the originality, the ingredients themselves, the craftsmanship of the product, the fact that it's made by hand. So yeah, a handmade, fresh product probably is our USP.
Who are your main competitors?
I don't think there is direct competition. At the moment, to our knowledge, there aren't companies doing what we're doing, exactly what we're doing. Having said that, the food industry itself is massively competitive, and therefore we're fighting for the same share of wallets as thousands of other companies. Especially in the UK and London, people are bombarded with different offers, different companies, new brands, existing brands, restaurants, takeaway, Deliveroo, recipe boxes. So it is very competitive overall.
How do your prices compare with having an Italian pasta dish in a restaurant?
Well, I'm glad you suggested that our competition is Italian restaurants rather than supermarket pasta or takeaway pasta or other recipe boxes, because indeed we see ourselves as restaurant quality delivered to your home. Having said that, our dishes are on average 20, 30, in some cases 40% less expensive than a equivalent dish sold in a restaurant in London, an Italian restaurant.
Right.
And our pricing varies depending on what dish it is. We've done more than 200 different pasta recipes to date, and the pricing varies from £6 to perhaps a more, let's say, simple dish to £12 for a more luxurious pasta dish.
How would you describe a typical customer?
It's hard to say, because we do have, our product is, we define it as quite democratic, in that it's a product which appeals to several different types of customers. We have families, we have younger couples. We have people who buy it as a special occasion for dinner parties.
Where do you sell your products?
So roughly a third of our sales are in London, 2/3 are outside of London. So every day we ship hundreds of boxes from Cornwall to Scotland to Wales to the Isle of Man. Everywhere we actually find that most locations where we ship to, apart from London, are small villages we've never heard of, where there is less availability of high quality, convenient food, where it's more difficult to find a product like ours.
Are you hoping to expand your business?
So yeah, we think that the market for our products in the UK is fairly vast. We think we've just scratched the surface. There's much more we can do, and we just started only 2 years ago. And so our plan is certainly to grow. Hopefully we can grow fourfold this year.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Alessandro. It's been lovely talking to you.
6.1.
Nowadays, we're surrounded by some powerful ideas about the sort of things that will make us happy. The first of these is that we tend to think that really to deliver satisfaction, the pleasures we should aim for need to be rare. We've become suspicious of the ordinary, which we assume is mediocre, dull and uninspiring. And likewise, we assume that things that are unique, hard to find, exotic or unfamiliar are naturally going to give us more pleasure. Then we want things to be expensive. If something is expensive, we value it more. Whereas if something is cheap or free, it's a little harder to appreciate. The pineapple, for instance, dropped off a lot of people's wish list of fruit when its price fell from exorbitant, they used to cost the equivalent of hundreds of pounds, to unremarkable. Caviar continues to sound somehow more interesting than eggs. Then we want things to be famous. In a fascinating experiment, a well-known violinist once donned scruffy clothes and busked at a street corner and was largely ignored, though people would flock to the world's greatest concert halls to hear just the same man play just the same pieces. Lastly, we want things to be large-scale. We're mostly focused on big schemes that we hope will deliver big kinds of enjoyment. Marriage, career, travel, getting a new house. These approaches aren't entirely wrong, but they unintentionally create an unhelpful bias against the cheap, the easily available, the ordinary, the familiar, and the small scale. As a result, if someone says they've been on a trip to a Caribbean island by private jet, we automatically assume they had a better time than someone who went to the local park by bike. We imagine that visiting the Uffizi Gallery in Florence is always going to be nicer than reading a paperback novel in the back garden. A restaurant dinner at which lobster thermidor is served sounds a good deal more impressive than a supper of a cheese sandwich at home. The highlight of a weekend seems more likely to be a hang gliding lesson rather than a few minutes spent looking at the cloudy sky. It feels odd to suggest that a modest vase of lily of the valley, the cheapest flower at many florists, might give us more satisfaction than a Van Gogh original. And yet the paradoxical and cheering aspect of pleasure is how unpredictable it can prove to be. Fancy holidays are not always 100% pleasurable. Our enjoyment of them is remarkably vulnerable to emotional trouble and casual bad moods. A fight that began with a small disagreement can end up destroying every benefit of a 5-star holiday resort. Real pleasures often seem insignificant. Eating a fig, having a bath, whispering in bed in the dark, talking to a grandparent, or scanning through old photos of when you were a child. And yet these small-scale pleasures can be anything but small. If we actually take the opportunity to enjoy them fully, these sort of activities may be among the most moving and satisfying we can have. Fundamentally, this isn't really about how much small pleasures have to offer us. It's about how many good things there are in life that we unfairly neglect. We can't wait for everything that's lovely and charming to be approved by others before we allow ourselves to be delighted. We need to follow our own instincts about what is really important to us.
Six point 2. 1,
Second hand.
2,
Old-fashioned.
3,
Last minute.
4,
Self-conscious.
5,
Worn out.
6,
Homemade.
7,
Air conditioned.
8,
High risk.
9,
Narrow-minded.
10,
Well behaved.
6.3. 1,
Low-cost airline.
2,
Extracurricular activity.
3,
Dead-end job.
4,
Feel-good movie.
5,
Groundbreaking research.
6,
High-pitched voice.
7,
Labour-saving device.
8,
High-heeled shoes.
9,
Eco-friendly detergent.
10,
Life-changing experience.
6.4. 1,
Hang up. Hung up.
2,
App. Up.
3,
Crashed. Crushed.
4,
Ran out. Run out.
5,
Rang. Rung.
6.5. 1,
What did she say?
She didn't say anything. She just hung up.
2,
Oh no, I don't believe it.
What's up?
3,
My computer's just crashed and I hadn't saved.
Oh no, how annoying.
4,
Can you print out this letter for me?
Sorry, the printer's run out of paper. We'll need to get some more.
5,
Is there still no news from the plumber?
Yes, he rang this morning to say he was coming.
6.6.
How much do you depend on your phone in daily life?
I'm a journalist, and when you're a journalist, it's very difficult to turn your phone off. My job can be unpredictable. For example, being sent to Las Vegas to cover the worst shooting in American history. You know, I get a phone call and I'm on the next flight out.
Would you describe yourself as a techie?
Not really. I only really use WhatsApp and Twitter. I know there's a whole world of apps out there, but I don't feel as if I'm missing out. I mean, I don't sit on the tube frantically playing games on my phone.
So deleting apps wasn't a problem for you?
Well, I miss the two I normally use, but my phone's mainly for reading newspapers and getting information for stories.
How did you find the challenges?
Days 1 to 4 weren't a problem at all. In the evening, it feels absolutely fine to put my phone away. When I go out for dinner with my wife and leave my phone behind, it makes no difference because it would never ever be on the table. In fact, I get a little irritated if I'm in a group and someone is scrolling through a phone. I don't say anything, I just quietly get wound up.
So there was nothing you missed?
Not really. My only real guilty pleasure is checking the football. But the bottom line is, if I wasn't at work, I could live without my phone.
What about the last 3 days?
Days 6 and 7 were more difficult. At the weekend, I normally work from 1 p.m. until after my programme ends, news at 10, about 11 p.m. And without a phone, it's tricky to get a heads up on the stories before work. I considered going out and buying the papers, but part of the attraction of the phone is you don't have to go out in the cold. So I broke the rule and turned my phone on to go through the papers. I was also panicking that if the Queen dropped down dead or some other big news story, they wouldn't be able to get hold of me, and I'd quite like to keep my job. So I decided to keep my phone on, but just not to look at it.
What did you learn from the challenges?
What I learned is that I use my phone more than I thought. By the end of the week, I was actually using it more than when I started. I still like to think I prefer talking face-to-face, but I missed not being able to pick up the phone when I wanted to use it. And I used Twitter more than I thought.
What did you decide you couldn't cope with?
I couldn't cope with not being kept in the loop with friends on WhatsApp. There were group messages I couldn't read or respond to.
And what can you do without?
I still think I can do without social media, but as a journalist, I have to play along with it up to a point because this is how the world works.
Clive's results were surprising. His daily phone screen time had actually gone up from 45 to 50 minutes, and his number of pickups a day from 11 to 16. So maybe he just didn't need to divorce his phone in the first place.
6.7. A.
I've never seen a kid quite so obsessed, and for such a long time, with one particular toy.
B.
The weird thing is, as far as I'm concerned, is that she doesn't really like eating what she makes. In fact, I don't think she has a sweet tooth.
C.
I wouldn't exactly say he was a hypochondriac because he doesn't often go to the doctor, but I do think it's an obsession.
D.
She also has 2 or 3 that live in her flat, and she even used to have one that lived in her office, but I think it died.
E.
She collects the films themselves and as much merchandising as she can. She has dolls from the films, small toys, and anything she can find.
6.8. A.
My nephew Sasha is absolutely obsessed with Lego. He's 9 years old now, but he's been crazy about Lego since he was about 3 or 4 years old, and he is so good at assembling the things that he makes. He never asks for help. He never has done. What he does is he just reads the instructions and then he does it himself. When he wrote his letter to Santa this year, he just put Lego, Lego, and more Lego. Then a couple of days after Christmas, his parents, that's my brother and my sister-in-law, had a lunch party and a load of people came with kids who were friends of his, and he just refused to come out of his room. And he wouldn't play with them because all he wanted to do was carry on making one of the Lego sets he got for Christmas. I've never seen a kid quite so obsessed, and for such a long time, with one particular toy.
B.
My sister-in-law, Miriam, she's really into baking. She has a very demanding job. She's a surgeon, but she spends loads of her time baking. I think she's got every single cookery book, or baking book, that's in print. And in her kitchen, she has 1,000,001 different cake tins and equipment. I have to say, she's incredibly good. Makes the most amazing cakes, biscuits, whatever. But the weird thing is, as far as I'm concerned, is that she doesn't really like eating what she makes. In fact, I don't think she has a sweet tooth. Very weird.
C.
So my partner Miguel is totally obsessed with his health, absolutely obsessed, and it drives me up the wall. He's always talking about how he feels and taking his blood pressure on this wee machine he's got for it, and how everything he's eaten has affected his body, and he talks about how many times he's been to the loo. I mean, seriously. And he also takes all these vitamins, supplements and stuff. The fridge is full of them. I wouldn't exactly say he was a hypochondriac because he doesn't often go to the doctor, but I do think it's an obsession. And nothing makes him happier than sitting down with a lovely herbal tea and a mate and going on and on about his health problems. And of course, at the end of the day, there's actually nothing wrong with him. He's the healthiest person you've ever met. So it's quite a joke, really.
D.
I've got a Polish friend called Dagmara who has a bit of an obsession with cats. She's got this small plot of land with a shed near where she lives, and she's got about 40 cats there, which she goes and feeds every day, and they've all got names. And she's always rescuing new cats she finds all over the place and taking them there. She also has 2 or 3 that live in her flat, and she even used to have one that lived in her office, but I think it died. And everything in her house, like mugs, towels, crockery, all of it has got something to do with cats. And she's so normal in about every other way, but she does have a thing about cats. It's kind of weird.
E.
A mate of mine, his girlfriend Sylvia really likes, actually I think it's fair to say she's obsessed with Disney, anything Disney, the films. She collects the films themselves and as much merchandising as she can. She has dolls from the films, small toys and anything she can find. She even wears clothes, and the clothes have pictures of Disney characters all over them. Right now, it's getting a bit out of hand because she doesn't have a very big flat, and there's Disney stuff everywhere, and it takes up all the room. There's toys all over her bed. Her boyfriend's getting a bit fed up with the whole thing, and I can't say I blame him.
6.9. 1.
She's really into baking.
2.
I think she's got every single cookery book, or baking book, that's in print.
3.
He's always talking about how he feels.
4.
And going on and on about his health problems.
5.
Has a bit of an obsession with cats.
6.
She does have a thing about cats.
7.
Right now, it's getting a bit out of hand because she doesn't have a very big flat.
6.10. 1.
Nowadays, a lot of people are obsessed with celebrities and their lifestyles.
2.
A lot of young people are addicted to social media.
3.
Many young people are hooked on video games.
4.
Lots of teenage boys are mad about football.
5.
Many 30-year-olds are still dependent on their parents.
6.
Some people are fed up with the amount of sport on TV.
7.
Older people aren't always as open to new ideas as younger people are.
8.
People are sick of being bombarded with depressing news.
9.
Most parents nowadays are aware of the negative effect of too much screen time.
10.
Couples are not as keen on getting married as they used to be.
11.
If TV programmes are unsuitable for children, they have to be shown after 9 p.m.
12.
People are becoming more suspicious of technology companies.
13.
Far too many people are dissatisfied with their mobile phone network.
14.
People are getting so accustomed to fake news that they can't tell what's true and what isn't.
15.
It's going to be difficult to reduce emissions as long as people are so attached to their cars.